My aunt was discovered by her uncle. He called his parents to help him. This made my parents stabbed to death by an angry uncle. My uncle was sentenced to death. My brother and I became orphans. In order to occupy the homestead and deposits left by my parents for me and my brother, my aunt applied to the court to become our guardian. My brother and I will never be as good as death from now on. We will fight for bed with pigs, eat for dogs, and end up with endless life and endless beatings. When I was 15, my cousin scratched my face with a knife and took off my pants and bullied me. My brother taught him a lesson, but my aunt and her man broke his legs with a stick. They tied my brother to the pig pen with iron chains, fed pig shit to my brother, and forced me to make money with my body. Later, my brother hit me and died in a pig pen. I set fire to the house, died with my aunt's family, and was buried in the fire. When I opened my eyes again, I actually returned to the night when my aunt called for help from my parents. "Brother, you and your sister-in-law come and save me." Lu Jun went crazy at home again and said he wanted to beat me to death. On the phone, the aunt asked her father for help in fear and anxiety. My father, who has always regarded his elder brother as his father, immediately picked up the stick at the door and called his mother, and was about to rush to his aunt's house. As soon as I came back from rebirth, I was stuck at such an important key point. I didn't even have time to digest the excitement of seeing my parents and brother again and the shock of rebirth, so I had to find a way to stop my parents immediately. Seeing that my parents were already riding a motorcycle, they were about to move away in the next second. Before I could think too much, I covered my stomach, wailed, and fell to the ground and churned. "It hurts. It hurts. My stomach hurts so much." I covered my stomach and cried heartbrokenly. The parents on the motorcycle were indeed panicked and immediately jumped out of the car. My mother picked me up from the ground and asked nervously, Yeah, where are you feeling uncomfortable? Where is your stomach hurting? Tell me about it quickly." I didn't say anything, just kept screaming, and it hurt. My parents saw that my stomach was a little serious and looked at each other. My father said, "You should take Yaya to the hospital quickly, and I will go to Jia Hong's house alone to see it." Mom worried, "Lu Jun is a man with a temper. He is not very serious. Be careful when he is safe." Dad nodded and was about to leave. I grabbed his trouser legs and pointed at himself while crying, "Dad, I want Dad. Dad, don't leave." My mother had never seen me cry so hard, and she was a little scared and said to her father, "Yaya doesn't look good, why don't you take us to the hospital first?" My dad was hesitant at first, but when he saw that my neck was red due to crying, he didn't dare to hesitate. He picked me up and drove me to the hospital on a motorcycle. I was very uncooperative all the way, and I didn't sit well in the car and kept moving around. For safety reasons, my father could only slow down the car. When I arrived at the hospital, I didn't let the doctor touch me, so I cried heartbrokenly. In the end, my throat became hoarse, but I finally kept my father. Because the delay was too long, the battle situation on my aunt was not over yet. My aunt was beaten by her uncle and her legs were swollen. Finally, he ran out of the house and fell into the field. He was seen by people from the same village and sent to the hospital by tractor. When my aunt arrived at the hospital, she rushed over and beat him and hit him. "Why didn't you go to save me? I'll call you, why don't you go? Are you still a brother? Seeing your sister being beaten up by someone, if you do this, don't care. I'll go to the grave tomorrow to complain to my parents. I'll see how you see them when you go down. Do you still have the attitude to see them? You are not a human, and you don't even care about your own sister. What's the difference with a beast?" My father didn't fight back when he was beaten and scolded by his aunt. My aunt was so arrogant that she blew all her anger after being beaten on her father. Seeing that she was getting more and more excessive, she actually reached out to slap her father in the face. My mother couldn't see it and went up to push her aunt away. "Jia Hong. When did you care about you? When did you get beaten? Your brother didn't go to help you. You said your brother was unscrupulous, what about you? Have you ever cared about Lu Jun hurt your brother every time? We still have some thoughts on it. You guys will make up in the hospital? Your family of 3 is having fun at home. Have you asked your brother if he is seriously injured?" My mother actually had complaints about her aunt for a long time, but because of her father, she kept holding on. Today, she felt that her aunt was too much, so she broke out. "You said your brother doesn't feel sorry for you. Yaya's stomach aches and she is still crying very hard now. You are the aunt. I have been concerned about it recently. A money-losing guy, are you worthy of my care?" My aunt was so arrogant that she immediately reached out to pull my mother's hair. "Just you deserve me to scream? I'm a money-losing guy or a fool, I don't have the ability, get out of here." You think you are a human being. My aunt was like a shrew, and she fought with her mother. The father, who had always been infinitely tolerant of his aunt, finally got angry after seeing his aunt beat his wife. He went up and pulled his aunt away, threw it aside, protected his mother, and shouted loudly to his aunt, Jiahong. This is you, sister-in-law. Seeing that his father was mad, my aunt sat on the ground with a wow sound and began to cry, Dad. Oh my God. Look at how your son bullied me. This unfilial son, I don't even remember your dying instructions. He bullying me for someone from another surname. Seeing my aunt making a fuss, I stopped crying and went up to hold my mother's hand. My mother saw me suddenly healed and said in surprise, Yeah, your stomach doesn't hurt anymore? I nodded, it doesn't hurt anymore. After saying that, she deliberately coaxed her eyes, looked at her father with grievance, and asked, Dad, am I really a loser? My father always loved me very much and quickly said, Don't listen to your aunt's nonsense. I lowered my head. But my aunt said, I am a money-losing guy, and I also said that my brother is a fool and I will definitely not be able to marry a wife in the future. When I grow up, I will sell me to the little mute in the next village as a wife, and give my cousin the money to marry her. Dad was stunned. Mom was so angry that she pointed at her aunt and said, Yaya is still so young, so you just have a plan for him? Are you still human? My aunt was confident, Yaya, this fool, has grown up. My response to your message was blocked for potentially violating safety policies. I apologize for any inconvenience.